This place has been associated with many names that are etched in the history of this country. The likes of Helen Joseph, an English anti-apartheid activist who called this place her place of worship. The likes of Beyers Naudé, a theologian, and himself an anti-apartheid activist, an Afrikaner anti-apartheid activist who served in this very cathedral. In 1975, history was made right here in this cathedral when its first ever black dean was installed. And that was our dearly departed Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. In 1985, history was again made when he became the first black bishop of Johannesburg. It is clear that this cathedral is synonymous with challenging systems, systems of oppression, of inequality, of injustice towards humanity. While he was dean, he stood right here at this very pulpit, challenging the apartheid regime of the time. And without fear or favor, he continued to speak against the injustices that our people were faced with. And he prophesied, he spoke life into this nation, bringing correction where it was needed, bringing rebuke where it was needed, teaching where teaching was needed. And of course, he did it all with the humor that he was known for. He was a father. A father loves unconditionally, and a father never gives up on his children. He never gave up on his dream for our beloved country. He was a role model. Yes, he was a role model for those who serve in the church, of a life of servitude, a life of selfless love and sacrifice. But he was also a role model to political leaders such as myself of what it means to truly be about the people. He was an icon, not only locally, but globally as well. A man of peace. He chose forgiveness instead of bloodshed, facilitating this country's peaceful transition into the democratic dispensation. An achievement that earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. And as the chair of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, he urged those that were found to be guilty of wrongdoing to accept their wrongs, acknowledge their wrongs, ask forgiveness, so that there could be healing, peace, and reconciliation. He was a nation builder, one whose contribution towards the reconstruction of this nation can never be forgotten. He was a patriot, compassionate to the end about the well-being of South Africa and the continent. We have cried, we have mourned, and as we gather to celebrate this gift, this life that we were blessed with, we ought to pause and reflect on the role that he has played, on the lessons that he has taught us over the years that he has served us, both in word and in deed. But we also ought to reflect on the role that we each have to play in protecting, preserving, and continuing his legacy. For indeed, one plants, another waters, and God gives the increase. Archbishop Tutu has planted. We need to water the seeds that he has planted, and God will surely bring increase. I too have asked myself, how do I keep his legacy alive? What will my role be as Mpopalat in keeping this legacy alive? I have a role to love this nation, South Africa, and pray for her daily, as if her well-being depends on my prayers and depends on God. But when I have prayed, I also have a role to go out and work so hard for the restoration of this nation, as if that depends on me. I have a role to walk in a posture of servanthood as I continue to serve all those that I've been called to serve. I have a role to be faithful with that which I have been given to steward. I have a role to never tire of speaking truth, even when it is not popular to do so. I have a role to never eat the bread of those I'm meant to be feeding. I have a role to protect the vulnerable and the marginalized. I have a role to love all people unconditionally. I have a role to love and love some more. And these are just some of the many lessons that I myself personally have drawn from this great life. And I believe that each and every one of us here today has their own lessons through our own intersections with this great man of God.